Screen Watcher, welcome back to another Double Take Review, where we give you our 2-take double dose injection of pop culture criticism, because that's what Dr. Hank Pym ordered. Just a heads up, first half of the show will be spoiler free for your convenience, at which point we'll be swinging into spoiler territory where we put a big warning on the screen just to let you know, all courtesy of our quantum spoiler monkeys. Without further ado, action! What are we watching?
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
No. ANT-onio!
You ready?
Hi.
I wish I had a suit. Even just a suit with no powers.
Follow my lead.
Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp.
All right, Ant-Man and the Wasp. This is a sequel to 2015 Ant-Man and the 20th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's been a long way.
Yeah. So tell me, what did you think?
I thought the first one was better, but this one was still okay. It wasn't anything to blow you away. I actually thought the first thing I wrote here was filler everywhere.
Really?
Yes.
Dude,
it doesn't add anything.
I have to stop you right there. I think this is the funnest sequel.
Oh my god.
It was such an improvement to the first one. It kind of reminded me of...
Why? Tell me why it was an improvement.
Well, I'm going to tell you. It kind of reminded me of how we went from Terminator to Terminator 2. And everyone remembers Terminator 2. And they're like, oh, okay, it was a movie that started with Terminator, but everyone loves the second one. I think this was such a vast improvement. They had... the first one, I think they wanted to make something. But in this one, they actually started having fun. They started playing with sizes. They started playing with Paul Rudd's likability and his comedic timing.
He was better in this one. Yeah. In terms of the fun nature of it, that's definitely something I took note of. For instance, in the third act of the first Ant-Man movie, you know how like they're playing on the train set and stuff? That's a really enjoyable part of the first movie. And this one has a lot of that too. It feels like the whole movie is that.
Kind of like on steroid.
Yes, they definitely took note that was an enjoyable scene. But I felt like that did well in the first Ant-Man because there was high action, high intensity, where it felt like there was a lot at stake. And then it jumped back and it was like, no, it's actually a little world and they're playing on this little toy set with a toy train. And just a little bit of zaniness. But this entire movie had a lot of that, and I actually was missing some of the action. I don't think that there was whole lot of action sequences. The Wasp had some great ones, and that was awesome. But I guess mainly I'm complaining about Ant-Man not having a really good fight sequence. He grew big a couple times and like pushed a truck and a ship, but other than that, he didn't really. Okay. He got his ass kicked a lot by the bad guy.
So speaking of bad guys, what did you think of the villains of the movie?
So the villain is Ghost. It's a phasing villain, and I thought she was not very interesting. And also I thought her introduction in the story was very like at the moment. It's like, oh, she came at just this right moment when they need to do this one plot device. And like she had 30 years or ish to do something.
I think there was a lot of convenient writing in this
convenience.
And honestly, yeah, I see that, but at the same time, I had a good time when I was watching the movie. So.
And I'm being very critical of it. It was still, if Marvel is like here, okay, and like they never go below that line, right. And so this is right there still.
Okay, so this is
they don't go below that line of crappiness, or they haven't in a long time. So
okay. Well, tell me what you liked about the movie. We kind of talked about it.
Yeah, so I did enjoy the fun nature of it all. I just felt like there wasn't a whole lot of stakes. That's why I said there's a lot of filler. There isn't a whole lot that ties it to the previous movies. And this one is actually a prequel to the last one, which is Infinity War. And it just doesn't have a whole lot of things at stake. And then I also think the entire plot device... I can say this, it's not a spoiler. They keep trying to find Hank's lab through the majority of the movie. I was like, okay, maybe they got it now. Oh, they got it now. Oh, they got to find it again. Oh, okay. Oh, it's being rolled on wheels now. Okay, and it takes them forever to find this lab. That's actually a huge part of the movie. What they're doing in the lab, I can't say because that's a spoiler. Okay. But also I was like, why is that important? Why is that important?
So kind of like a MacGuffin type thing. So it's like you're just like going after this thing.
Also,
and it seems
you know,
like it's not
they
a-
weren't watching the news when the events of Infinity War were happening, where they're like, oh my God, there's a giant ring floating in the sky. How come, hey, Ant-Man, you should probably go check that out. No, they're like, we need to do this other thing because we're selfish. And
Okay, so you were just like kind of not happy with the disconnect that this movie
yeah,
had to the
I
whole
don't know. I wanted more.
events
It
that
could have
was-
been. It could have been monumentally great.
Okay.
But it was, out of all the movies that we reviewed where we say passable, this is like bottom. This is
Passable?
perfect example of passable.
Okay. I have a lot of things to talk about when it comes to spoilers, so let's just finish.
You want to
the-
jump into it?
Yeah. So.
Well, I think it's a good time then to go into the quantum zone and cue those spoiler monkeys. All right, we are in spoilers, my friend. And Laurence Fishburne, he was the bad guy. The big twist. He was their
Was
friend
he,
at first.
though?
Well, yeah, he like betrayed them. Remember,
Well,
he
if
showed
you're-
up in
If
the
you're
back.
talking about spoilers, what do you think of the first post-credit sequence?
Oh, we're jumping straight to post.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was fun.
I mean,
That was a lot of fun. Especially because if you think about how dire the events of Infinity War were, and then you're like, oh, and Ant-Man can't help either. You know, he's locked in the subatomic realm, and nobody can do anything.
that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Did Luis fade away too? Then I guess.
We never saw
Oh, he was
him.
never there.
Yeah, he was never there. So it was just like Hank Pym, wife, and the daughter, and then him, Ant-Man. And Ant-Man is like stuck now in this world, and there's no one to bring him back.
That was interesting because it meant something. It directly tied into it, and it caused tension. And you're so eager to figure out what happened.
And they were so cheeky with it because at the end it says Ant-Man and the Wasp will return.
Yep. Question mark. I saw that. Yeah. They love those ashes. There's been a lot of memes since that movie came out too, and they love those ashes. All they had to do was show the ashes, and the audience knows what's up. It was fun. Like that. I wish that smile that you had from that moment and that energy that I had was in the whole movie.
Okay.
And for me, it wasn't.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought the villain was. She was just complaining. That's what I was. She's complaining that it hurts all the time, but then she does bring up at some point. She's like, "I'm gonna die in a couple days." Well, if you're gonna die, then the pain's gonna go away. So why is it so important that we kill another individual person just to give you life back, just to make you one and whole? You wanted to die. That was actually part of the agreement when you signed up for working for the government, is that they would find a way to kill you.
I kind of got like, when it came to the villains, it's not just one villain. There's also a bad guy with a bunch of henchmen showing up.
Yeah, it's like, what was their point? Like,
Yeah, I think that was kind of got the sense of like Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man 3, that like they have to put all the villains in one movie. But at the same time, as the movie was progressing, I noticed that there was a lot of set pieces that they have, and they wanted to put the set pieces, and in order to get them connected together, they needed all the villains.
It would have been awesome if, I don't know, it would have been more interesting if the villains teamed up, or maybe if we found out what the other guys, the henchmen people, were actually trying to do. But instead, they're just bad guys for the sake of complicating the plot.
Right.
Which the plot is to revive his wife, which he's not even sure that she's alive, and it's so coincidental that they test out this machine, right? Even though for years and years and years he's like, she's not coming back, and then they test out the machine a day or two after. Scott gets a vision, and then he's like, oh, she's alive, and she took control of my body, or I took control of hers, or whatever. And then they're like, okay, yeah, let's now jump forward with this plot. But what was the point? What was the gigantic point of having the mom back, other than to make them happy?
Honestly, it seemed like this was a little movie in the cinematic universe of, I had a good time. Like, I don't really care about the
mom has magic hands, by the way. Did you notice that? There's
Yeah.
no explanation
Well,
either.
one thing that I did enjoy was how good the de-aging technology was in this movie. So at the beginning of the movie, usually it comes across super creepy when they try to like having Michael Douglas and they want to show him as like a 25-year-old, and then they do the computer generated thing that like oh, that's fake, please stop. But this one, I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah, they had a couple different instances to use it. They used it on a young Michelle Pfeiffer and then Michael Douglas again. And then Laurence Fishburne too.
Did it come across as weird? I thought that it looked pretty good.
Michelle Pfeiffer was really well done.
Yeah, and
that
also-
one. Well, that one. Right when they opened with that scene, I was like, they're gonna do it again. You know, they're gonna show how technology has advanced and that they're getting better at it, and they really were. But Laurence Fishburne, I thought, was pretty well a couple times. Like, this is a movie that does it well. In other movies, it's very apparent. But if I wasn't so hyper aware, I don't think I would have noticed.
I mean, just compare that to Justice League, how the CGI was crap in that one and how good it is in this one. So we kind of take it for granted that.
I even think those Star Wars movies, like in Rogue One, that was very in your face. And I don't know if that's because we know that Carrie Fisher is...
Or maybe the technology wasn't as good.
That could have... I think that was probably one of the first instances anyway.
Yeah. But ultimately, you would recommend people going and seeing this movie.
It's part of the MCU, so you have to, in my opinion.
Because the next one that's coming out is Captain Marvel in March of next year. So there's something for people to hold them over until next year. And then after that, we have the Spider-Man next July.
I'm going to be honest. You don't have to spend your money to see this in the theater.
Wow.
You can wait.
Okay.
You can wait. But you have to see it because it is a part of this franchise now. Being a hater.
Okay.
But no, it's it's whatever.
All right, man. Thank you very much for watching our video. We always appreciate it. Please hit that like button and subscribe.
Yes, and we do like to end the show with a very heartfelt thank you to all of our helpful and dedicated Quantum Spoiler Monkeys. Until next time, we hope to catch you again. Keep on screen watching.